Handsome Hockey Podcast. 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 Handsome Hockey Podcast.
Handsome Hockey Podcast.
So this has been Architecture Hour with Evan Stravers. I am just sitting here listening and happy for my friend. This is also the Handsome Hockey Podcast. Here we are with episode 62.
I'm Batman.
No, that's the commissioner of the NHL.
No. I'm Batman.
Fuck, there's a joke in there. I lost it. Well,
The joke is what separates you from being Batman.
I'm not wearing hockey pads. Ooh, that was in sync.
Yeah.
Bye. So, yeah, we have not recorded for a while, and so we're going to be talking about some shit that happened a while ago.
And I'm not ashamed about it.
The leadoff of which is Batman.
Gary Batman.
Whatever your political leanings are, you probably agree on some level that Joe Biden's not a great talker. And that's fine. I mean, he's got a speech impediment, so part of it is understandable, and we shouldn't make fun of it. Now, what we should make fun of, and I'm actually, while I'm not a Joe Biden fan, I'm not making fun of Joe Biden here. I'm actually applauding him for this minor faux pas, which was in having the reigning Stanley Cup and maybe 3-time Stanley Cup winning Tampa Bay Lightning to the White House. He, in talking about hockey, slipped and called Commissioner Gary Batman,
Which immediately behind him can be seen Victor Hedman just like losing his shit.
It's not even remotely hidden. Like he was like,
it's
no.
so funny.
He's like, no, I'm going all in on this because this is a beautiful moment.
Yeah, and also it just kind of speaks to like Joe Biden didn't exactly care about getting that wrong. He was like, whatever, we're gonna let it ride.
He's already the president.
I don't care about the NHL commissioner. I don't care if he wears dad jeans like my old friend Barry. Like, we're just gonna go with Batman.
And what I really want to know is like what exactly Victor Hedman was laughing about. I mean, we know what he was laughing about, the comment, but was it because, I know everybody hates Gary Bettman, but like, was he laughing because it was Gary Bettman, or did he like have a vision and it pop into his head?
Because that's the best part.
In Swedish, and it's Gary Bettman as Batman,
right?
Probably like Adam West Batman, but wearing dad jeans.
That's exactly where my brain went to.
And
like maybe his tights don't fit right, or it's like he's got dad jeans and like a little kid's shirt on that like shows his pasty midriff.
The fact that nobody has asked Victor Hedman about this
or Gary Bettman,
it just shows how lame,
right?
The NHL media is.
Where's Rick Westhead saying, "Hey Gary, so can you tell me about your brief casting as the Dark Knight?"
Well, he's not allowed in the building anymore, so that's probably why. But like,
yeah, because he's the only hard-hitting reporter there.
But like, no Tampa Bay reporter was like, "Hey, Victor, so Gary Batman." Even off the record.
They must have, because it was so funny. And he's the only one like kind of in frame.
So people got really upset on either side of the can you ask Alex Ovechkin and Russian athletes their stance on the war in Ukraine. And some people were like, that's uncalled for. And other people were like, no, it's actually important. What I want to know is what was going through Victor Hedman's head.
Right. Is he laughing at the joke itself, or is he laughing at someone else laughing at the joke? Like, it's one of those things. It travels through crowds, right?
Yeah. And Victor Hedman seems to be a guy who probably has a pretty solid personality, but we never know NHL players' personalities unless they go full Kucherov. So it's a missed opportunity for NHL media However, for us on the podcasting or hockey fan side of things, it was a blessed moment. And thank you, Victor Hedman and Joe Biden, for it seems like Joe Biden finally got something right. Thank you for this just moment of magic.
You know who was looking for a moment of magic? Poor Toronto.
Oh.
I actually sort of feel bad for them this time because they put up a good fight. They really, really did. They can hang a moral victory banner in Comic Sans or something in their stadium. They went to 7 with Tampa. It was a tough series, and they just didn't win. There's not a whole lot to be a jerk about this year. This year felt like two heavyweight teams doing battle, and the probably slightly better team got some bounces and came out on top. Even the GM, did a good job this year in bringing in Mark Giordano, who played amazingly down the stretch. And Marner got at least one goal in the playoffs.
Finally, yeah.
But also played pretty well from people talk about and what I saw. Nobody's pissed off at Mitch Marner this year like they have been in years past. There's not a ready scapegoat. And I think that maybe makes it easier even if it is a little depressing.
This past weekend in hockey was one of the best hockey weekends of all time.
Absolute insanity.
We had 5 Game 7s. Both games on Sunday went to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And none of the games was a walk in the park.
No, it's been such a well-matched and interesting playoff up to this point.
Well, the other big thing that happened is Brad Marchand.
Yeah. In the Boston-Hartford Whalers series, Brad Marchand scored a 5-point game and then also became the people's hero by calling Tony DeAngelo racist to his face. You can't have a better game.
Yeah, Marchand, he's kind of a hero of the people sort of
really done a heel turn.
Point. Yeah, all of a sudden we're like, wait, Brad Marchand is yelling at somebody for being racist? Correct me. Hold on. We need to...
The guy that licked somebody's face.
Didn't he lick multiple faces? That guy? All right. Hey, let's get weird.
You find friends in strange places.
Like Boston. There was also Tony DeAngelo throwing his stick.
Yeah, that's some beer league hockey shit you do with your friends. That's not professional hockey shit. That's such a low fucking move. I don't know.
From such an upstanding gentleman too. Who would have seen a classless hockey player coming or hockey move coming from a classless dude?
And that's really truly what it is. He doubled down on it after the fact, and it's no, you're a fucking professional. Yeah. Don't throw your stick on an open net that the guy is 25 feet ahead of you. Tony DeAngelo has become really peak Tony D this season. He hasn't done anything to really make you hate him, but he's existed, which is enough.
Yeah,
and
I was gonna say he didn't need to do anything. He's already there.
No, I know.
In our hearts and minds, right in the hate tree.
And also increasing the hatred. I can only hate him so much because he helped me to a fantasy championship, but he's been Carolina's best defenseman this year. From a scoring perspective.
From a scoring perspective, yeah. He's never gonna unseat Slavin and Pesci. They're
but he's
master classes of defensemen.
He's the perfect accent to them player wise. You put him and Slavin on a line and you've got offense, you've got defense, you've got yin, you've got yang, you've got red wine, you've got white wine, you've got rosé all day.
Well, we know Tony D's the white wine, so
yeah, so Brad Marchand called him out for it on the ice, and the refs also were like, "You can't say that. That's mean."
How dare you call a spade a spade?
Yeah, how dare you get deep thoughts in a hockey game?
Yeah. If you had said he has a tiny boner, we would have let it slide, but calling a racist, how dare you? A couple of quick stops here for the first round. Minnesota St. Louis was looking, Minnesota's playing pretty well. What's that I hear? Is that by God, it's Jordan Bennington's music.
Jordan Bennington from 2019 music.
He runs down the platform to the square arena, or what do they call it in wrestling?
The ice rink?
Well, yeah, to the ice rink. Fuck. Plays incredibly well.
Yeah, after they pulled Ville Husso.
Closes that series out. I mean, Minnesota's a very good team.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a let's handle everybody but Kaprizov.
Mm-hmm.
And they did.
Yeah, it turned into a series that went about the same way as their whole season series, which should have been a betting man, because I looked at that and I was like, oof. Yeah, Minnesota, statistically better team all year long, but St. Louis had them 75% of their season games. I don't know. Now Minnesota's in cap hell. Now they can't really keep this whole team together.
They're in so much trouble.
Right. They might lose Kevin Fiala. This was their best chance until the Suter and Parise contracts come to bite them in the ass constantly for a long time. Now they have contract hemorrhoids
for 4 years.
It's really rough.
For 4 years they have this, or 3 more years. Sorry, for 3 years they have this horrible cap situation where they have first 12.7 and then $14.7 million in dead money.
That's a fucking yikes, Bob.
Wow. That's 3 solid players.
Yeah. Or an entire line of depth.
Yeah.
Quality depth.
So, I mean, hopefully Marco Rossi hits next year. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Rossi and Boldy will probably both hit, but can they pay to play a team around them? I don't understand. Yeah. Bill Guerin's move is going to come back and bite them.
Round 2, which started tonight with Tampa kind of dismembering Florida in the second half of that game.
Yeah, I mean, oh God, they looked like they had it in that first half of the game. I really was rooting for Florida, but Tampa looks like they're back.
Yeah. Well, Vasilevsky looks like he's back, and that was the big thing, is he didn't have a Vasilevsky type year. And then the last couple of weeks, people were like, wait, is Vasilevsky playing really well?
Well, he looked suspect in the first couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
Had some moments in the back half of the series, and then okay, now they're leaning on him. Hell yeah, we have breaking news. Madison Cawthorn concedes in the primary.
Fuck.
No more fucking Madison hairy butthole Cawthorn.
Oh God, what a great fucking day this is.
Oh God, yes.
Now we just need half the Supreme Court to die.
Did you see the hairy butthole video?
I know about the hairy butthole video, but
it's pretty funny.
No desire to watch it.
It's nothing. It's not even
not because of hairy butthole or whatever. Normally I'm down for a good funny video, but I just don't want to even think of him at all.
And I totally agree with that. But also, he has a really hairy butthole. And it's like hairy ass crack. It's
we can't all be a slip and slide like you, Evan. God.
No, he
as good as round 1 was, and as warm in my heart as I am having read that news, round 2 is looking fucking great.
Yeah, we get we get all sorts of wars. We get lots of battles. You can't stop talking about round 2 unless you talk in terms of risk. I'm going to invade Kamchatka.
How many die are you taking with you into Kamchatka? So the Battle of Alberta, we have been graced with this glorious moment of the Battle of Alberta.
Thank God.
We also get the Battle of Florida, which we saw play out in the first game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Battle of Florida 2.0, but it looks like it's kind of looks the same as Battle of Florida 1.0.
I think Florida's better than they were for Battle of Florida 1.0.
Roster-wise, coaching-wise, absolutely. It's going to be juicy. I think it's going to go just as long as it did last time, but
we also get the Battle of Tony D'Angelo.
The best battle.
The Hurricanes versus the Rangers. Let's just say I'm hoping for some some heavy hits.
You're hoping for some fireworks? I mean, because Tony D did not ingratiate himself to that team.
Ryan Reeves exists.
And Ryan Reeves exists.
So,
and also they saw from last time, like, oh, you can get under his skin. Like,
oh yeah,
Tony D went most of the year without that. Like, he went the whole year without showing his total anus to the world, and then did it in this one game. And so we get the Rangers versus their least popular player of all time.
We also get St. Louis, Colorado, which is like the series that people just kind of don't care about, but could end up being the best series.
It all kind of depends on this first game here. And I think if Colorado wins this, it is a harbinger of boredom. And if St. Louis wins this first game, it's like, oh, strap in your butts. We're going for a ride.
Yeah.
Like if St. Louis is as good as they seemed versus Minnesota against the Avalanche, that's a big deal. But early returns are that Colorado will continue to curb stomp them on the way to
moving into the women's hockey off season. You know, we've had some pretty big announcements. The PWHPA has, sort of announced that they're going to start a league. The first kind of big to do going on is PHF free agency is upon us. And
right. Our sort of like first ever true free agency where there's really more defined salary cap rules and an expanded cap, and they can really kind of compete with the PWHPA's clout for free agents.
Well, we'll get there. So Madison Packer decided to re-sign with the Rivs, even though her wife, Anya Packer, did not. This is a big coup, maybe not a coup because she already played there for like 5 or 6 years, but it's just a, keep your best players, right? And so keeping Madison Packer in a Rivs jersey is a huge step.
That's very, very, very interesting, especially with what has gone on behind the scenes with that team this year. We've dived into that previously. Don't need to get into it right now.
Elaine Chuli and Cheyenne Darkangelo, two of the linchpins for a very successful season in Toronto last year, also re-signed with Toronto. However, most notably, Mikayla Grant-Mentis did not resign
because she got paid.
She got paid like nobody's gotten paid before.
Yeah.
$80K.
Quite literally, like no one's got paid before in the league. $80K, kind of raise I need to fight for.
Right. So
congratulations to her. Someone's got to set that record. There's nothing wrong with grabbing the money in professional sports. Well, you're a professional sport, grab that money.
And also setting the bar for women that high.
Which is excellent.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of money. 10% of that deal is a signing bonus as well.
So what is that in terms of cap percentage?
It's 9.38% of the cap. So getting paid, I think that's more percent of the cap than Patrice Bergeron is in Boston. Like it's a big chunk of the cap. On one hand, it means you aren't going to be able to spend a ton more on reserves and third liners and whatever.
Sure.
But on the other side, you're bringing in somebody who won the MVP 2 seasons ago, was just second in scoring last year, could have easily been an MVP candidate this year, and you're bringing her back to the city where she started her PHF career in Buffalo. In the time that she's been away, she's been crushing it in Toronto, and now you bring her in, and Buffalo, like right away, is now a viable team. Like the team that was last place and got stomped on a lot last year, despite a heroic performance by Carly Jackson, all of a sudden has somebody who could push for the scoring lead.
Right. In Buffalo, and bring that scoring lead to Buffalo. Yeah.
The unsaid thing here, especially with the fact that that salary was pretty much immediately leaked, is that it's a shot across the bow.
Oh, to the PWHPA. Absolutely.
There's obviously been consternation. There's been conflict. There's been condescension. There's been condensation. No, too many cons there. The fact that this came out, it shows that the PHF is ready to put the money where their mouth
Show me the money.
And so I think we have a really interesting couple of months ahead of us.
Oh, absolutely. And like really like anything can happen. Like this is not NHL offseason stuff. Like literally anything can happen.
What might be even more crazy, and this is me getting way ahead of myself, is next year's free agency, because we'll have a season of the PWHPA. We'll have a season of the an eighth season of the PHF. Who knows what that is though, right? It might not end up being what a lot of people thought it was, and maybe people are like, well, shit, I can go get paid in the PHF.
Yeah, exactly. Like if they kind of stumble out of the gate, what if you see a mass exodus, or at least, I don't know,
a couple of big names?
Yeah, it would have to start with one player, but like, yeah, that could be really interesting, because this doesn't just like stop when the season starts. Like this is going to be a continual negotiation. And, if you're not getting the playing time you want, this is sort of like the transfer portal in college football. Like it's a equalizer. They've sent the message, they've put up a flare that whatever kind of language you want to use to describe this, like this sends a message that the PHF is real about paying people a upper middle class salary for professional women's hockey. And that means a lot. Also
a big deal, Reagan Carey was hired as the next commissioner of the PHF.
Long live the next commissioner of the PHF.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes positions with this league don't last very long, so we gotta celebrate them while they're here.
It's very true. However,
she seems like she's going to be around a while.
This seems like a huge move. Was formerly the U.S. Hockey Federation's director of women's hockey and GM of their women's teams.
Yeah, very, very qualified for this position.
Massively qualified.
Another great hire by the PHF front office as they do this sort of like modernization thing, go from part-time staff to full-time staff, like really kind of mount up for the next era of this league.
Yeah, when you couple that with the PHFPA's hiring of Nicole Corriero, just another, this time I'll use it correctly, shot across the bow. The PHF is ramping up in a massive way. And there was some consternation out there when the PWHPA sort of kind of maybe announced the stipulations of their upcoming league.
Yeah, we can make a league too.
And, the question became, what does the PHF do in response? Well, they batten down the hatches and are fucking shit up is what they're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of a arms race now. I mean, this is the signal of an arms race. Russia took a big whiff of its cigarette and said, "Oh, you think you have nuclear missile? Oh, well, we have bigger nuclear missile.
Yeah, Sarbamba.
Yeah, we have Sarbamba."
And then the Ukrainians pushed them back in most places.
And the Ukrainians said, "You have conscripts for troops. They don't want to fight against their basically brothers and sisters." PHF also announced its slate of award nominees for the year, which is one player from each team, which is kind of makes it more interesting. You can kind of consider everybody in a weird way that you can't do with a 32-team league. Most valuable player.
This was an interesting one because with every team getting one player, you had to choose between Cheyenne Darkangelo, Elaine Chuli, and Mikayla Grant-Mentis. And Cheyenne Darkangelo, yeah, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, right. That talk about Sophie's choice right there. And yeah, you know what? I'm glad that Cheyenne movie villain Darkangelo came out of that.
It's such a great movie villain name. It really is.
And such a great hockey name.
Oh yeah.
We've been really lucky with hockey names as of late in women's hockey. Like we've gotten some good, Kennedy Marchment was a hell of a hockey name when she came on the scene. And now she's up for most valuable player.
And probably the odds-on favorite at this point.
I was going to say, is it hers to lose?
Absolutely.
It's got to be hers to lose. Like, she is making like JFK. And let's I don't
in a covered limo.
yeah. Early career, not late career. Early career,
saving people off of a PT boat.
Yeah, right. Other, Ali Thunstrom put up an amazing year.
Defender of the year. I feel like this is one that could go a number of ways, but maybe feels like Amanda Boulier's to lose.
Yeah, Dominique Kremer's also up for this one as a dominant defenseman. But Amanda Boulier put together an amazing season and like really turned it on in that playoff tournament. Was one of the really driving reasons that team won another cup. As much as we hate to see Boston get another cup.
Win anything.
I mean, yeah, not real mad, but come on. Let someone else win for a change.
Goaltender of the year, I feel like it's just a Katie Burt, Elaine Chuli contest, despite some really great goaltending by pretty much, like, Amanda Levier was incredible, but also didn't play that much due to injury.
Yeah. You look at goaltending stats across the league, though, and like
way up,
crazy. Yeah, I'm bummed to not really be able to truly put forward my fish and loon pad Amanda Levier as the top here, but yeah, it wasn't her year.
Carly Jackson faced more shots than a vaccinated United States. Like, it's in a liberal county. It's
but Katie Burt won that cup, and that's hard to
with great stats,
right? So I don't know. I think for the whole year, you got to give it to Carly Jackson. Abby Ives deserves a shout out, but and as does Elaine Chuli.
But it's probably Katie Burt. Newcomer of the year, it's probably Callie Flanagan.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
she helped that team turn it up to 11.
Yes. And then, Taylor Gerard had a brilliant rookie year up in Connecticut.
And Taylor Davidson was one of the massive Toronto signings of rookies that was truly impactful.
And finally, the Denna Lang Award. I really don't know I don't know who to say is going to win this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to even...
Whoever wins it, though, good on you.
It's really hard to qualify these players without like a paragraph write-up.
Whoever wins that, we're thrilled for them. Speaking of people that we aren't rooting for.
The opposite of Stan.
Nats.
Mike Ribeiro, former NHLer.
Noted piece of shit. Formerly accused of sexual assault. Accused of sexual assault again by two women this time. Not just one, but two. He was credibly accused and then got off with rich man legal shit. Yeah. Normal sexual assault technicality bullshit.
Yeah. Mike Ribeiro, known for long NHL career and some all right shootout highlights, is just case in point why hockey culture needs to change, because these were accusations in a long line of like where there's smoke, there's fire with his career. And him along with like Austin Watson, who is
now an alternate captain for the U.S. at the IHF.
Right. Credible accusations didn't go where they should have. Hockey culture is left to pick up the pieces kind of theme here. These are case in point why hockey culture needs to change. Like these guys that should have been stopped, weren't stopped, and were then given every opportunity under the sun, as opposed to, say, like the rest of us that would be accused in the same way and have our careers destroyed. Like these guys...
Which should happen. Like
exactly.
That should happen. It's just not happening because these dudes have money and
they are afforded
influence.
And they're athletes. Like athletes for some reason are just afforded shit that the rest of us aren't, because just because they're athletes.
Speaking of quick hits, Dustin Brown.
He's going to the dustbin.
He is done. And what a career. Like,
he deserves congratulations.
He deserves congratulations, especially for being told, hey, we're stripping you of the captaincy, but we really want you around.
Mm-hmm.
And just continuing to show up. And he's the first captain of the Kings to ever lift the cup.
Yeah, and that was his goodbye. It was just a picture of him lifting the cup once the Kings got eliminated from the playoffs. Hats off to him. He kind of came into the league with a large pedigree, but also he was a weird player. He had to kind of adapt. He was a tough guy to play against. He had a resurgent season last year, put up some really, really great old man points. I always call Dustin's dustbin because when I was like in 5th grade writing some like assignment about your friends or something, and I had a friend named Dustin, and WordPerfect kept autocorrecting Dustin to dustbin.
Oh.
So I just always assumed
Word was not perfect.
Yeah, Word non-perfect.
Yeah, or Dustin needs to get it.
The Florida Panthers, they're in the playoffs, but they also did something amazing. Did what every one of us wish we could do and said, fuck you to Ticketmaster.
Yeah, any chance you get to just put a hot, steamy dump on Ticketmaster, you should take it.
Right. They kind of like did us all a service and like, oh, you charge me $15 of ticket extra? Well, fuck you.
Except it's like $75 extra a ticket.
Yeah.
The ticket's $12 and you pay $35 for it. Fuck you, Ticketmaster. Gargle my ass. Like,
yeah, and then like they like modernized their ticket buying process and somehow made it exponentially worse. Like,
yeah.
When I bought my latent Rage Against the Machine tickets that have now been punted to their 3rd year, yeah, it was like the worst ticket buying experience I've ever had. Also, in strange ticket stories, Carolina has limited its ticket sales to only Carolina addresses and phone numbers or something like that, which is hilarious because, well, the team it's playing, its fans travel pretty well.
And however, like in this era, can probably figure some shit out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what this does is also clamp down on scalping. Carolina has a reputation for being fan friendly, especially for local fans. Like, this is kind of in that vein.
I'm guessing Tina in Greenville, whose brother is a huge Rangers fan, is about to buy like 400 tickets, though.
Probably. Yeah, New York will corrupt even the best of us.
Yeah, it's like the California of the East.
Speaking of things chewed up and thrown out by New York,
Barry Trotz.
They're like, hey, you should trots on out of here.
Ha ha! This is more of Lou Lamoriello chewing up something and spitting it out.
Again.
But all the time.
Barry Trotz. Easily one of the top coaches in the league still.
Yes. 3rd all-time in wins. Behind one guy who's retired and one guy who's not really allowed to coach.
And then like one of the coaches who really like coaches. He's got a system. You play his system. You usually are pretty good. Maybe, I mean, he's only won 1 cup, but
he's won a lot of games.
He's won a shit ton of games.
Playoffs.
Yeah, it is a efficient if boring system.
Lamoriello fires him and says, we need a new voice. We need a new set of eyes. We need new ideas, and then hires Barry Trotz's right-hand man.
Well, he was sort of like a coach in waiting.
Well,
Lane Lambert, Ryan Lambert's second cousin.
He was a head coach in waiting somewhere. I don't think people thought this offseason it was going to be replacing Barry Trotz.
But it's not like you can trade a coach and then upgrade to your coach in waiting. He's not a
I guarantee if the Isle make the playoffs this year, we're not talking about this at all. It's not like, we've been waiting for Lambert to take the reins and we're going to go. We're running it back with Barry.
And running it back with this roster,
how
shall I say this? It's not going to go well.
It's not good.
No, it is literally No Country for Old Men, a roster, and like they are going to get no country this year.
And Anton Chigurh is just walking down the street,
Yeah.
plumping people in the head. This kind of leads us to, where does Barry go? And also leads us into the fact that Peter DeBoer just got fired.
Yeah, we're making like a meat production plant and just doing all the deaths right in a row.
When this first happened, I said Dallas for Barry Trotz. I think it's a great fit for him. Defense that you can build around, a great goaltender, a solid backup if Khudobin comes back.
And if that's maybe one thing that we didn't talk about that we probably should have in the first round coverage is the series that Jake Ottinger just put together.
The Herculean series that Jake Ottinger, what do you have, 59 saves in that game against...
he had multiple 60 save game. And
multiple shutouts against one of the highest scoring teams in the league.
Talk about shots across the bow. If that's going to be the theme of the episode, he put the whole league on notice that was like, I'm your next star goaltender.
I'm about to get paid.
Yeah. Also,
as he goes into his RFA season. So yeah, Peter DeBoer got fired.
What took so long?
Yeah. So you fired Gerard Gallant because you only made the conference finals.
And asked about it, the GM says, I don't see how Peter DeBoer's tenure can't be viewed otherwise as a success, as anything but a success. And it's like, actually...
There's a very obvious reason why.
Yeah, I want to go fucking internet troll. Actually.
Also, no cups.
Yeah.
That's why. And so it turns out he still doesn't have a cup. And now he doesn't have a job. And
he's like a country song.
Gerard Gallant is in the second round of the playoffs with his new team.
No cups. I ain't got no job.
Where are you going with that one?
I ain't got no cups. I ain't got no job. I'm rolling it back, going at it again, just like Vegas has done several years in a row with only making large splashes that don't fit very well. Like, okay, we're going to bring in Alex Pietrangelo at huge cost, and we're going to bring in Jack Eichel at huge cost, and then we're going to miss the playoffs. I mean,
we have absolutely nothing in the cupboard.
Yeah, right. Like, maybe when it's all said and done, Seattle wins a cup before Vegas.
That would be a fucking riot.
But, I mean, I'm going to lump this in while we're talking about it, but Mark Stone is going to have major surgery, back surgery, which is a bitch to come back from. Vegas somehow went from dominant cup contender to what are they going to be next year in a damn hurry?
Yeah, they've got Lehner, Alec Martinez, Mark Stone coming off of surgeries, and Max Pacioretty.
Yeah.
Jack Eichel, who just came off of the first ever of its kind neck surgery in the NHL.
So it's the Vegas surgical ward.
Yeah, how many doctors can they fit under the salary cap?
How many Porsches did all those surgeries pay for? That's what I want to know.
A whole lot of midlife crises were funded by these surgeries. Also, something that seems to happen every year, Pierre Maguire was fired.
Again!
And the fact that it happened so close after the death of Eugene Melnyk.
You know whose idea that was.
That was Pierre Dorian's. He was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, in Game of Thrones, he was the Littlefinger and just dealt with.
I don't know that joke, but I'm going to giggle. It was like Pierre Maguire just called in a favor.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Eugene, so I don't have a job. Eugene was like, I got you. I will pay you $6.
I heard on Puck Soup, a good one was the league likes to push Pierre Maguire and Peter Chiarelli on people they're ugly friends you're trying to date or get dates for. And oh man, that fits so well. So shout out to those guys for landing the good one. You know who didn't land a good one? Poor Mitch Marner. Finally put a playoff series together. Got his car jacked immediately afterwards at gunpoint.
Gun and knife point, actually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So it's okay to bring a knife to a gunfight when your friends have the guns. And you can just be in the back going, yeah, see, I got this knife. There was just like a tweet from the Toronto police about carjacking, and it turned out it was Mitch Marner. And thankfully, he's okay. It's a pending investigation. Nobody's saying anything.
He's out one Land Rover. Like, he can probably get another.
Yeah, well, he's making a ton of money to lose in the first round.
Right. He's got plenty of time to shop.
Oh man, the jokes are just landing today. That being said, we're very happy that he's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
losing a car when you can afford another one, much better than, getting knifed in the belly or something.
Right. Michael Bunting can collect on his 401k now, and so he can spot Mitch Marner some money.
Michael Bunting will just hand him a pocket full of Spanish doubloons that he was there at their minting. The NHL draft lottery was announced, and to nobody's surprise, when the draft is in Montreal, shocking nobody, got the first pick, the rights to take Shane Wright,
J'aime bien Shane Wright,
who is looking less like the world beater everybody thought he was going to be. He didn't have a great season in the OHL this year.
He's still a good prospect, but
he's still an excellent player, but he's not looking like Connor Bedard. And maybe it's because Connor Bedard exists that he doesn't look like such a
Connor Bedard.
Prospect.
I mean, also Connor Bedard is everywhere and putting up stupid numbers. Yeah, Shane Wright's merely been like above average in the OHL.
Getting him and Nick Suzuki should form a very solid 1-2 center pairing. At some
coming
point.
down the middle. Boy, did they miss Philip Deneau
or
right
Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
Yeah, I don't pity Montreal.
No,
you sleep,
no, not at all.
You sleep in that bed you shat in.
Yeah, and when the Red Wings somehow win the draft lottery next year, and get Connor Bedard, all will be well. That thing that has never happened and will never happen, the Red Wings winning the draft lottery.
Maybe that's part of the Yzer plan.
They didn't lose any picks. They didn't move back this year, which was nice.
I mean, that's a big deal. You're trending in the right direction.
Woo! Something that's not trending in the right direction. This deal for the Yotes to play at ASU.
Oh, it took a big hit.
Big old dump. A big old coyote dump. It's like 7 coyote dumps. If you've ever seen coyote dumps, they're not very big.
Turns out that Arizona State is going to keep their logo at center ice during Coyotes games. Let's just make it real obvious that you're sharing a building with a college team that has also the rights for preferential home games anytime they have home games. So the Coyotes are going to start off with a month of road games like the Islanders did last year. Also then not have a weekend home game for several months. Their schedule next year is just, it's depressing to look at. I'm going to root for the Coyotes in a weird way.
Oh, absolutely.
But only but they're not going to go very far. But I just want them to and to end on a good note, we want to talk about how to support your family members, how to support your friends, how to support the people around you. It's to be a good fan and make noise and look like you're having a good time, like Brady Tkachuk. He has been supporting Matthew Tkachuk, his brother, through all of the games that Calgary has played Dallas. And then I would assume, he's going to keep going. But he's been wearing T-shirts that make fun of his brother because, you kind of know, Brady Tkachuk looks like he would rather be wrestling Matthew Tkachuk if he could get his hands on him. But Matthew Tkachuk's on the ice in the locker room. So okay, I'm going to have to settle for cheering for my brother.
And mocking him at the same time.
Yeah. But Brady Tkachuk has just been having such a good time with it that you can't not lean in and cheer for Calgary.
It's a bummer that we'll never get to see the reverse of that because Ottawa doesn't make the playoffs.
We were promised 5 years of unparalleled success.
And the first year they had to sign Brady Tkachuk to get over the cap floor.
Yeah.
Maybe it was delayed a year because they thought Eugene Melnyk was going to pass away earlier.
That's really what Eugene just predicted his death and then said, well, we're going to have success after that. But Brady's he like shows how to be a supporter. He's just looked nothing but happy the entire time. Like, he's made so much of an impression that Matthew's been like asked about it after games
while like celebrating the glow of a victory.
Yeah, right. Like, hey, you scored this game tying goal, and then Johnny Gaudreau won it in overtime with an amazing fucking snipe. He's awesome. He's having a good time. Wish we were having a good time. Similarly with the Winterhawks playing their game 7 tonight. Yeah, unfortunately, Winterhawks lost 6-3 to Seattle, their hated rival, who will move on in the playoffs in their stead. You know, good season, Portland. Hey, it's a bummer. We wish you the best, and we wish you super fans like Brady Tkachuk in the future.
Just a couple of quick notes. A couple of weeks ago, we were geared up and ready to record, and the leaked document from the Supreme Court came out that basically says they're going to, shall we say, terminate Roe v. Wade in this country. And we both decided that we just really didn't have it to record that week.
Yeah, it was hard to take.
You know, much has been made about this, and I don't really want to tell. Like, this isn't a political issue. It's a health issue, and politicizing women's bodies and using them as leverage for political careers or any sort of power is fucking horrific. And these people who would be absolutely aghast if like we mandated vasectomies for men at age 14 or something like that.
Which I still sort of don't understand why we can't, like, just put like fucking plumbing valves. But
and so like the second a man's body would ever be regulated would be aghast, and shit would be over so fast. Have this big hard on to regulate women's bodies, and that's really what it is it's power. It's weakness, like showing up in its most grotesque forms. And
it's not, it's a failure to understand history, because we've already been through this shit. We've already decided essentially as a society that we're better off with the ability to get an abortion than we are with it being prevented. From a mass public health perspective, abortion it's important to save the lives of women that undergo issues with birth. The laws that would make abortion illegal also prosecute miscarriages and prosecute ectopic pregnancies
and
prosecute
contraception
and IVF. You know, I wouldn't be here without IVF. That's a whole other story. But, you know, that we are now relitigating this 50 years after the fact just shows that we didn't pay attention to history.
In retrospect, keep your fucking laws off of women's bodies. Let's keep abortion safe and legal in this country so that massive, massive health problems can be prevented.
Don't arise from it.
And sorry for getting political, not sorry, but you know, it's just like, this is the first linchpin in the reversing of civil rights in this country, and it's a terrifying moment.
I mean, it's not even the first. It's been backsliding for a long time, first with voting rights and civil rights, and now the conservative legal machine has come for abortion. And we need to support abortion providers. We need to support Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood still is the #1 dispenser of contraception in the United States. And you know what attacks on Planned Parenthood do? They result in more abortions and more unwanted babies. There are basically two economic theories for why crime went exponentially down in the 80s and 90s. They probably exist in tandem, and it's the banning of lead gasoline, and it's Roe versus Wade. Together, we prevented widespread lead pollution with the EPA, and we made it so that more babies were cared for and loved, and unwanted babies that would not be cared for, loved, and provided for were prevented from existing. And that's
both
okay.
By their parents and by a state that just doesn't, or a nation that just doesn't fucking care.
Right. we need to provide more care for the living, breathing humans that have the babies or may have the babies, and care less about the unborn that are not at all provided for in the Constitution.
It's a scary moment in our country's history, and it sucks that it's just something that we're revisiting. Also, and like we're ending this on a real somber tone, we just watched a white nationalist murder a bunch of people on Twitch.
Yeah, which is insane.
In Buffalo. And, you know, this is the sort of thing that happens when quote unquote mainstream sources parrot like far right, non-scientifically backed, complete crackpot theories like replacement theory.
Yeah.
And you get an 18-year-old who, under New York law, should have been flagged and made so he could not buy a gun, walk into
flagged,
a store.
But we've detoothed our ability to actually police who owns guns.
And walked into a store at 18, bought an assault rifle, and murdered 10 people in cold blood.
Yeah, and wrote things on it like, here's your reparations. It was absolutely racially motivated. He pulled off from killing white people and then murdered black people. You can't not make it about race. It is racial terrorism.
This is white nationalism. It's white supremacy. It's terrorism. And we need to, as a country, start calling it that. These people are terrorists. They are trying to use fear as a weapon to get their ideology across. And that is the definition of terrorism. And so this is a shitty, somber way to end a podcast that is supposed to be jokes and fun and shedding light on the fun bits and
yeah, but you also
poo-pooing the bad bits.
You can't have fun bits when people are getting gunned down at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, that makes it not fun for the rest of us.
People went to go get their food for the night and never came home. And
right. And people that were targeted because they lived in a black area by someone that lived in a predominantly white area who went there because it was a predominantly black area, thanks to planning level segregation in Buffalo that goes back to like the pre-World War II era. You know, you can get into how that got segregated in the first place, but that's some master's level urban planning shit.
I know it's hollow words, but our hearts go out to anybody impacted by this. The city of Buffalo, the families of the victims.
Yeah, we have so much love for Buffalo.
We talk about it all the time.
I mean, partially because we have some close friends from Buffalo that are Buffalo fans, and like to see that this happened in Buffalo, and to like, this is basically Dylan Roof 2.0. I mean, he wrote Dylan Roof's name on his fucking assault rifle. That's what it is. And it sucks ass, but it's also brought this back into the limelight, how we need to deal with the problem of white nationalism and white supremacy. And if we don't, it will be the end of us.
Normally we close by telling you where you can find us. I just don't really feel like it's a good ending at this point. So Take care of everybody you love. Don't kill people because they're different than you. Stop being an asshole. Stop being a racist fuck. And fuck, yeah. Stay handsome, everybody.
Yeah, stay safe, stay handsome. Know that different ideas make us better. Restez beau, tout le monde.